Hello everyone, I welcome all of you once again to the series of profit and loss. We are in lecture number 9. Okay, now till lecture number 8 we have discussed the basic formulas and the concept of profit and loss and how does it relate with percentage. Now in lecture number 9 onwards we have some practice questions, that means miscellaneous question. See, it's concepts, okay, we build a foundation, that's very important, but how to apply those formulas, concepts in miscellaneous questions, that makes the difference. Okay, so practice will make you perfect, right? So practice as much as possible, and then we have here practice at 1. So let's get started. I have added some random questions on profit and loss. That's how our pedagogy will be. We will go to the concepts of a chapter. We'll do some miscellaneous questions. That's how we will complete a module, and then on the basis of module we will again have some miscellaneous questions. Okay, so that will improve your understanding with which formula to apply in which particular question. Okay, now question number 1. A wholesaler had 200 dozens of mangoes. He sold some of these mangoes at 20% profit and rest at 10% profit. Okay, so one at 20% profit and some part at 10% profit. So 20% and 10%. He made, and then in the overall trade he made 13% profit on selling all these mangoes. How many mangoes in dozen did he sells at 20% profit? Okay. Now, first of all, in question you need to understand whether the units are same or not, and you can see the units are same in all this while they are talking about dozens, right? So we don't have to convert that 1 dozen equal to 12, then 200 dozens means how much, right? So we don't have to get into that complexity. That's good part. So first look at the units. Units has to be same. Now here let's start. Let's see, and you can see we have options also. So in all the practice questions I will include options too, so that we can learn how to select options and eliminate the options also. So 200 dozens mangoes and he sold, okay, some of them. So we don't know how many of them. So let's say X dozens mangoes, he sold at 20% profit. This we assume. Okay, profit. Okay, now here you will see that there are no price given. There is no price given. There is no cost price. There is no selling price. It's just profit, and then we need to find out the quantity. Okay. Now next is, if 20% profit, the quantity is X, then on 10% profit the quantity should be 200 minus X, right? Total 200 dozens, right? Out of which if X sold at 20% profit, so remaining should be sold at 10% profit, right? Now in overall trade he is gaining how much? 13%. So let's assume that 1 dozen is costing you 1 rupees. 1 dozen is costing you 1 rupees. We can assume that, yeah. So 1 dozen is costing you 1 rupees. 1 rupee. Assume that. Okay, because there is no cost price, no selling price, so we can assume. We have already assumed the quantity. We should not assume more variables to make it complicated. So 1 dozen cost 1 rupee. Now if you combine this, you have quantity X dozen for 20%. So I can say the cost of X dozen should also be X rupees. Are you getting this? Let me make it simple for you. If I assume 1 dozen cost 1 rupee, so X dozen will cost X rupees, right? Yeah, this is cost price. Okay, if 200 minus X, this is the quantity in terms of dozen. 1 dozen cost you 1 rupee, so 200 minus X should also cost you 200 minus X rupee, and this is at profit. This is the profit percentage. Yeah, this is the profit percentage, and this is what your cost price is, right? Cost prices. Okay, now we know if profit percent is given, then if the profit percent is given, then which formula do we apply? If profit percent is given, then which formula do we apply? Selling price equal to cost price into 100% plus profit percent, right? If profit percent is given, then this is the formula we apply. Now in overall trade, question said in overall trade, which is 200 dozen, the profit percent is 13%. The profit percent is 13%, right? So 200 dozen, 13%. So cost of 200 dozen, as per our assumption, the cost of 200 dozen should be 200 rupees. So far so good, all good. 1 dozen 1 rupee. Accordingly, quantity into 1, quantity into 1, quantity into 1 converts into cost price, respective profit given. Okay. Now with this respective profit, with this formula, let me take this formula a little up. Okay, with this formula, if profit percent is given, then I can say here, the selling price for this, let me call this to be S1. The selling price for this, let me call this to be S1. That is equal to cost price, which is X, profit, which is 20%. So 100 plus 20 will give you 120%. Okay. This is for the first quantity X. So selling price, total selling price, I am considering S1. Now the second quantity, which is 200 minus X, let me consider the selling price S2. Cost price, which is 200 minus X into the profit of 10%. So profit of 10%, 100 plus 10 will get you 110%. Okay. Yeah, when I'm solving miscellaneous question, I will try to avoid extra steps. Okay. Otherwise, solution will look really lengthy to you. This is the cost price, 13%. So now this should be total selling price, because we are talking about selling the total 200 dozens of quantity, right? So total selling price is on 200 with 13% profit, so 100 plus 13%, right? Now if I consider this to be equation number 1, equation number 2, equation number 3, right? Now tell me, if I add S1 plus S2, if I add selling price 1 and selling price 2, where selling price 1 is on X dozen and selling price 2 is on the remaining quantity. So don't you think that by adding this S1 and S2, I will get the, so don't you think that by adding S1 and S2, I will get total selling price there also, right? So can I say by adding this 1 and 2, I will get total selling price, which will give me equal to what? Equation number 3, right? Okay. So what is S1 here? S1 is 120% of X. S2 is 110% of 200 minus X, and the third equation, okay, which is total selling price, yeah, into 113%. Okay. What I have done here? I have added S1 plus S2 to get the total selling price, and then I made it equal. Okay. If you're finding this solution little lengthy, don't worry. I have the alternate method also. I'll show you that. But first understand this part. Okay. Now let's solve this. Now I can remove I can take percentage sign common from here, left hand side, and cancel with the right hand side. Percentage sign is cancelled. So we have 120x. Let me open the bracket here. 110 into this. So 111 into 2 is what? 22. 1 0 here, 2 zeros here. So total 3 zeros. Minus 110x. Okay, that's how we open the bracket. 110 multiply by 200, 110 multiply by x. Okay, fine. Percentage we have taken common and cancelled with this part. Okay, here we have 200 into this. So I got 226 with 2 zeros. Simple. 120 minus 110 will get me only 10x. I can take this to the other side. So 22,000 and here I have 22,600. If I take plus 22,000 towards right hand side, that should become what? Minus, right? That should become minus 22,000. So x will be equal to here 600. Sorry, 10x will be equal to 600. So x will be equal to what? 600 by 10. 0, 0 cancel. X equal to 60. Before saying that this is the answer, first let's go to the assumption that where we have assumed x. Okay, so you should know what have you assumed as x. Is that matching with what question is asking about? Okay, directly don't mark the answer, right? So x is equal to this. Okay, okay. So what have we assumed x to be? X is the quantity. First of all, we have assumed the quantity and then we multiplied by 1 rupee, so made it cost price. But initially we assumed the quantity, that x quantity is sold at 20% profit, right? And question said how many mangoes in dozen did he sell? Did he sell, not sales, did he sell at 20% profit? So this is what we have assumed to be x. So now you can mark happily, proudly that 60 is the answer, because x is equal to 60 and that's what we have assumed to be the quantity which is sold at 20% profit. Okay, fine. So you can pause, you can, if you want to revise the solution, you can rewind this video. Let me show you the alternate method also, which will be little shorter, but the problem there will be I will be using a new shortcut, okay, which we have never discussed about. Great. Now, as I promised, alternate method. Alternate method is, there is a method called allegation rule. There is a method called allegation rule. Okay. There is a method called allegation rule. Now, allegation rule says, don't get scared by the name. Okay. ऐसा एक नाम दिया. You can call it maybe say zero rule or ratio rule or whatever you like. Okay, you can call it Lakshmi rule, you can call it John's rule. Okay, so allegation rule is basically when you have here it works in different cases, but I'll show you in this case. When one quantity you divide into two parts, okay, one is sold at some profit and one other is sold at another profit, and then you have got mix. Okay, in that particular situation, this alternate method works. Okay, and here the solution which I have shown you here, this will work in all the time. Okay, but the alternate method will be, alternate solution will be only specific to this particular case, where you got some total quantity, out of which one sold at some profit, which is 20% given here, other sold at 10% profit, which is here given in the question, and when you combine the total profit comes to 13%. Okay, so first of all you write like this: the first profit given, second profit given, and the total profit given in between. Okay, now you do cross subtraction difference. So 13 and 10, what is the difference? 3. 20 and 13, what is the difference? 7. Okay, so, and you got the answer. See, so fast you got the answer. It means that if you to have the overall profit to be 13%, you have to sell the quantities in ratio 3:7. 3 for 20%, 7 for 10%. So this is part of ratio, and you can keep, you can keep a note that I am going to discuss this question again, or this type of question again, when I will be discussing the concept of ratio or application of ratio. Okay, so it's so simple. See, 3:7. So total quantity, if you make it in 3:7, you have the 20% and 10% and overall profit to be 13%. Okay, so now to get, question said find what is sold at 20%. So on 20% you have how much portion? 3 out of total portion. 3 plus 7 out of total portion. 3 plus 7. So what is the portion which you have sold at 20%? It's 3 on 10. Out of the total which is given, how much? 200. 0 0 cancel. 2 3s are 6 with 1 0. So it is 60 dozen. That's the answer. Isn't it fast? Yeah. So that's why I'm saying you stay with me and go through the entire course. I'm sure you will be able to learn a lot of shortcuts and you'll be able to answer the exam and score well. Okay. Yeah. So I'll leave it here, and I know that many of you must be a little zapped up that okay, we got the answer so fast, and tell us more about allegation rule, but hold your horses, it's not the time. Okay, we'll discuss in the ratio proportion chapter. Yeah, so I hope this is clear. This part is clear, and allegation rule for this particular question. Okay, let's jump to the next question. Question number 2. If you remember, we have discussed one concept in a lecture that if the purchase quantity and sold quantities are different with no wastage of the quantity, okay, then how to solve the question. This is we have discussed in lecture number 3, and that time I have also mentioned that if there is a wastage of quantity mentioned, then how to deal with those questions. Okay, so today is the day. This is the question where we have wastage of quantity and then we are going to solve with that. Okay, yeah. In lecture number 3 we have seen questions where there was no wastage mentioned. 11 mangoes bought at 10 and 10 mangoes sold at 11. No wastage of quantity mentioned. In such case, how to find the profit or loss percent. And today you can see in this question, a rice trader buy 8 quintals of rice for 3,600 rupees. 10% of rice is lost in transportation. Okay, so quantity of selling should be different because 10% is lost in the transaction. Okay, in the transportation. At what rate should he sell to earn 15% profit? Is the question clear to you? Look at the question. 8 quintals of rice, bought it for 3,600. 10% of rice lost in transportation. The remaining rice, whichever is remaining, the 90%, whichever is remaining, whatever is remaining, at what price shall we sell so that we'll gain 15% profit? Okay. In this case, in this particular case, you don't have to make the quantities equal. I am giving the reference of third lecture. If you have not done that, go through that. In this lecture, we have made the quantities equal by cross multiplying. Okay, because there was no wastage mentioned. Now here, because wastage mentioned, we don't have to make the quantities equal. We'll go with whatever is given to us. So let's see how to solve. If it is too much, you can take a break and then come back to the lecture. Okay. So 8 quintal quantity, 8 quintal, cost price of 8 quintal is rupees, total quantity is rupees 3,600. Okay. If 10% is lost, tell me what is 10% of What is 10% of 8? 0.8, right? I hope you can solve this much. If that is lost, so how much is remaining? The remaining should be 8 minus 0.8, that means 7.2, correct? So question said he has to sell, he will be selling only 7.2 quintals of quantity, okay, because 10% is lost. At what rate he should sell so that he still earn 15% profit? Now this 15% profit he should earn in overall, despite of having the loss of 10% of quantity in the rice, in the transaction, in the transportation, sorry. So in this case, we don't have to make the quantity of purchase and quantity of sale equal. Why? Because this remaining 0.8 quintal, for this selling price will be 0. Okay, so this is sold at how much? 0 rupees, because that is lost, correct? The quantity which is lost is having 0 value, but it is given, right? In that case, we do not make quantities equal. I remind you again, we do not make quantities equal the way we have done in question number 3. I have mentioned very clearly that this will be only in case of no wastage of quantities mentioned. Okay, come back to this and focus on this question. How do we solve this? He wants to earn 15% profit over the cost price. Profit we calculate on the cost price. So what should be the selling price in this case? Now forget the quantity as of now. Look at the cost price. Cost price is 3,600. On this he wants to earn a profit of 15%. So what should be the selling price in that case? Which formula do we apply? Again same, selling price equal to cost price into 100% plus profit percent, because there is a profit of 15% given. So selling price is supposed to be cost price into 100% plus 15%, 15% profit, right? So 3,600 should be multiplied by 100 plus 15, that means 115% to get the selling price, right? Now this selling price is of 7.2 quintals. I hope this part is also clear to you. Okay. At what rate should he sell to earn 15% profit? Now options, if you get to see, you have per quantity, per quintals, per quintal, per quintal, right? So we need to find the selling price of 1 quintal, correct? If 7.2 quintal sold at this much of selling price, then 1 quintal will be sold at what price? This is what we need to find. How do you calculate? 3,600 into 115% by 7.2. Okay. Now remove the decimal and we have 0. Before removing the decimal, let me remove the percentage sign from here and have what? 100 down. Here I remove 0 zeros, right? Again, if I remove decimal from here, I should have 1 0 in the numerator, correct? 36 ones are 36 and 36 twos are 72. Okay, here we can say 2 5s are 10. So the selling price should be 115. The selling price should be 115 multiplied by 5. That will give you 575 rupees per quintal. Do we have that in the option? Yes. Option number C should be the answer. Okay. Cost price given. This is given. Selling price quantity now is 0.8 quintals lost. So we have 7.2 quintals. With 15% profit, the selling price should be 15% more. So cost price into 100% plus profit percent. Okay. So third question. Third question says Rahim sells a machine for 48 lakhs at a loss. What is the loss? That is not given. But 48 is the selling price, right? He's selling at 48. This is the selling price, fine, at a loss which we don't know. Had he sold it for 60 lakhs, rupees 60 lakhs, his gain would have been 5 times of the former loss. That means comparing with this loss. In this case, first of all, you have to assume this loss to be something. Let's say this loss is X. So 5 times of this former loss should be what? 5x. Okay. Find the cost price of machine. We need to find the cost price of machine. Let's see. So here you don't have percentage. You directly have profit and you have loss. So profit equal to difference of selling price and cost price. Loss is equal to difference of cost price and selling price, because in loss cost price is more, selling price is less. Okay. Now in the first case we have loss. Okay. In the first case where the selling price is 48, we have loss. So I will take the loss formula and say, okay, loss which I have assumed to be X equal to cost price, which I don't know. Let's keep it as cost price. We need to find the cost price only, minus selling price is 48. Okay. Now I will say cost price equal to 48 to the other side, X plus 48, right? Then we have next condition of having selling price to be 60 lakhs and profit to be 5x, 5 times the former loss. So I will use profit formula here, which is profit is 5x that we assumed already, equal to selling price, which is 60, minus cost price. Okay. This is what we get from the second condition. All right. Now here also I can take the cost price this side, 5x this side, and I will tell you the reason why am I doing that. Cost price here 60 plus 5x. By doing so, in equation number 1 as well as in equation number 2, both of them says cost price equal to something and cost price equal to something. My bad, here we should have minus, right? So I can eventually equate equation number 1 and 2 because both of them are showing cost price. Doing so, I will have x plus 48 equal to 60 minus 5x. Okay, let me take the variable same side, numbers other side. So x plus, it will go positive, right? So x plus 5x, and here I will have 60 minus 48. The positive will become negative if you change the side. This is 6x and this is what? 12. The difference is 12. X will give you equal to 2. What is x? X we have assumed to be loss. That's not the answer. Question said find the cost price. So I can take equation number 1 or 2, whichever you like to do. I'll go by equation number 1, which says cost price equal to 48 plus the loss, which is x. With this I'll get 48 plus 2, which is how much? 50 rupees. That is my answer. Cost price equal to 50 rupees. Option number D. Cool. Let's see what is the next question. Question number 4 says a man gains 15% by selling a calculator for certain price. Now here selling price is not given, for certain price. If he sells it at triple the price, triple the selling price, then what will be the profit percentage? We need to find out. Now whatever is not given, we assume it. Let's say selling price equal to x. So first selling price equal to x, and the second time selling price is how much? Triple the price. It should be 3x. I hope that's clear. Okay. In first case the profit is 15%. So now we know profit percentage is given. Which formula to apply here? Selling price equal to cost price into 100% plus profit percent. Don't worry, I'll make sure that you have enough practice questions with me so that you understand and you remember all the formulas. Selling price which I have assumed to be x. Initially cost price which we don't know, Here 100 plus 15%, so this will be 115%. I hope this is fine with you. I don't have to put 15 here, 100 plus 15. By now you should grow up. Yes, this is first condition. Second, if he sells it for the triple price, that means 3x. So if case 2, if I see case 2 directly, if I have to triple this price, triple this x, how will I triple the x? I need to multiply by 3 in both sides, right? That means the 3x should be equal to cost price, 3 into cost price into 115%. Yeah. Yes, you know that I don't like to do the calculation at the beginning. I will keep it for end. So in the second case, I have the selling price, the new selling price. I will not touch that. 3 multiplied. So I open the bracket. Here I have cost price and number multiplied. Here I'll get 345%. Ooh. This selling price is 345% of the cost price. So if I want to take out the profit from here, compare it with this formula. If I have to take out the profit from here, I need 100 plus something. That something is the profit. So I can say this is nothing but cost price into 100 plus what will give you 345, 245, of course. Yeah, so 345% I can break it in 100 plus 245, right? And if I compare this with the formula of selling price, tell me selling price equal to cost price into 100% plus profit percent. Don't you agree with me? Don't you agree with me that this value is nothing but the profit percentage? Yes, that's how you got the answers, because that's the question. Find the profit percentage. The new profit percentage would be 245. That's the answer. Correct? Okay. So do you see how miscellaneous question works? I mean, you don't have really a proper type of question. So that is the beauty. You should be trying this miscellaneous questions more and more. Question number 5, the last question of this lecture. Let's see how it goes. A trader buys 500 kg of cotton for this much. 10% of cotton is spoiled due to rains. What rate, rupees per kg, he sell at the rest? He sell the rest to gain 10% profit. Okay. Same as the previous question. Here you have some quantity which is which is being spoiled, lost. Yes, so loss of some quantity given here. So you know that we don't have to worry on the quantity in this case. We directly say, okay, cost price, the total cost price given to be how much? Yeah, that is 9,000 rupees. The selling price is with 10% profit. So just focus on the selling price. Let's talk about the quantity later. Selling price, the total selling price should be 10% profit. So 10% more of 9,000. What will be 10% more of 9,000? Yeah, 10% of 9,000. Yes, it will be 900. Yeah, I hope you will be able to solve this easy calculation. You will be able to do this easy calculation. So 10% higher, the selling price should be 9,900. Correct? Profit percent we apply on the cost price. But this time the quantity is not 500 kg. It is 10% less because 10% is spoiled. That spoiled cotton has zero selling price. Okay. So here 10% less. So 10% of 500 is 50. 10% of 500 will be 50, right? Yes, that is lost, that is spoiled. So remaining is 450 kg. Okay, so focus on this. Now we say selling price of 450 kg is 9,900 if he has to gain the 10% on the remaining quantity, right? With this I can say selling price per kg for 1 kg, that is what question said, to find out what is the rate per kg of the selling. That would be equal to if 450 kg is this much, so 1 kg would be 9900 divided by 450. Correct? Cancel this out and then simplify this value, you will get the answer. So what's the answer here? You have 990 divided by 45 will get you 22. Okay, so selling price per kg should be 22 rupees, so that he can gain 10% even if the 10% of the quantity is spoiled. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this practice set 1. I have more practice sets to come, and keep practicing. Yes, this is it in today's video. My name is Shyam Manawat. I will see you in the next lecture. Till then, stay happy, stay healthy. Bye bye.